Good morning, and thank you for joining us here today. I'm Legislator Mary Jane Shimsky, and I'm here with my colleagues from the Westchester County Board of Legislators, Chairman Ken Jenkins and Legislator Bill Ryan. We've also been joined today by Yonkers City Council President Chuck Lesnick and by Yonkers City Councilman Michael Sabatino. Today, we are calling on County Executive Rob Astorino to move forward with the long-delayed pool renovations here at Sprain Ridge Park. Over $1 million has been spent already on design costs and construction costs that were previously approved by the Board of Legislators. But the Astorino administration has yet to budge on making the pool renovations. The Sprain Ridge Park pool has been closed for the last 2 summers as a result. Westchester residents pride themselves on having great parks and recreational facilities for their use. And here, in one of the county's major population centers, we have a project ready to go, the design entirely completed, yet construction entirely stalled at the whim of the county executive. Just as frustrating is the fact that this pool is a taxpayer asset that is going to waste. The pool has been bought, paid for, and constructed by the taxpayers of this county. They own this pool. We, the county government, is supposed to be taking care of this pool for them. And the county executive is failing in that function. For all these reasons, this project should be a high priority. And I implore the county executive to forego the politics and instead think of the over 50,000 people who used to use and enjoy this pool on a regular basis. They have not been able to use this pool, their pool, for the last 2 years. I'd now like to ask Legislator Ryan to say a few words.
Thank you, Mary Jane. The excuse me. Just to give you just a little bit of history, after inspections by the county showed that the original pool was leaking, the Spano administration, the Board of Legislators at the time, began working collaboratively in 2001. It's about a decade ago, to rehabilitate the existing pool area into a leisure pool facility. Now, we're all familiar with that. A lot of communities across the country have gone with that national trend, which attracts people. It boosts attendance and revenue at municipal pools, and we decided that was the proper direction for the county to go in. That year, over a decade ago, $680,000 was spent to replace the aquatic playground system, and in 2006, 5 years later, another $500,000 went toward the design for the total project. Fast forwarding, just 2 years ago, in 2011, the Board of Legislators added $8.8 million in the capital budget in order to begin the construction of Sprain Ridge, of the pool facility. As I mentioned, that was 2 years ago. The Astorino administration officials have trotted out a number of explanations and excuses as to why they have not moved forward with the project. Even the county parks department widely distributed a report in which South County residents indicated that swimming was a leading activity, a preferred activity, something they wanted to do, and they really wished that more facilities for swimming could be built or expanded. Well, that's exactly what we had here, and nothing was going on. I've got to say, looking at this as a former board chairman, I've been engaged with the legislature in this process for 16 years. I'll tell you what I see. I see this is just another example of County Executive Astorino's irresponsible neglect of our infrastructure, our pools, our parks, our roads, our bridges, our buildings, our facilities. It's an irresponsible neglect, simply, in my view, to save money. That's bad judgment, and it's a very serious problem. I know that this project is a big one, but I tell you what, if they put their mind to it, it is doable in time for this facility to be used by the public this season. You got to fast track it, and you got to get it done, but you got to be committed to it. And I think that we're all aware, it's going to make countless residents and families happy on on those hot summer days when you're looking for a place to swim. And, it's also going to create much needed construction jobs. And certainly we're very conscious of the things county government can do to do that as well. But this needs to get done. We don't need to waste another minute thinking about it. Everything's in place. The administration and the board can get this done. And I tell you, the Board of Legislators is willing immediately to assist the executive branch in go, moving forward with this project. But our word today is don't waste time, no more foot dragging, get this project done.
At this point, I'd like to call on my colleague, Board Chairman Ken Jenkins.
Thanks you, Legislator Shimsky. The facts around this are very simple. The Board of Legislators unanimously approved the design for this particular work back in 2008. It wasn't just one particular pool. We had a plan, and that was the hallmark of prior administration. It was a plan to renovate all of our county pools. We certainly did the work in Tibbetts, and we saw how well that worked out. We did Saxon Woods. We also did Wilson Woods in Mount Vernon, where we put in the wave pool. All these things have been wildly successful. And the plan here at Sprain Ridge was to do the design, close Tibbetts for 1 year, and then move forward with the construction here at Sprain Ridge the following year. We would have been in a new scenario now with a lot of youth and children's type of activities here at the Sprain Ridge Pool, and enhancing and building upon the successes that we've had both at Wilson's Woods and certainly at Tibbetts Brook Park. From an investment perspective, when we talk about much needed construction jobs, that this is a $10 million project, that puts a lot of people to work, puts a lot of folks back to making sure that they're investing in Westchester, they're able to spend money and go to stores, and that has a residual effects for all the municipalities. And it was something, again, it was a unanimous approval. This particular project is in Legislator Gordon Burroughs' district. Legislator Burroughs was not able to be with us this morning, but he is certainly a supporter, as well as many of the Republican colleagues, to make sure that this was going to move forward. And as Legislator Ryan just pointed out, we put this money back into the capital budget to make sure that it moves forward. It is in the best interest of the people of Westchester that gets done. But we certainly have here at Sprain Ridge Pool, those 50,000 people that used to come here were many of our youth camps and our organizations that would come here to this particular facility because it had great facilities, and they look like they're in some state of disrepair as well. We need to make sure that we continue that investment. But we have great partners because this is in the city of Yonkers, and we have our partners here with the Yonkers City government. I'm going to call up first and ask City Council President Chuck Lesnick to come up and say a few words on this project that he's been so supportive of. Chuck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In a time that we're fighting childhood obesity, it is insane that we're closing this pool that served 50,000 people a year. In a time that we're fighting to restore sports and arts to our schools, it's crazy to get rid of a facility where so many teams used to practice. They would practice how to swim, they would practice how to dive. And as the chairman says, this is not a partisan issue. It had unanimous support on the County Board of Legislators. It had unanimous support from the entire Yonkers City Council a year ago when we took a vote with the mayor and urged the county to live up to its obligation to restore this facility. On a personal note, I can remember many times coming here with my children and teaching them how to swim. And my children played often with Ken's children and other children in this area. This was a highly utilized pool. I'm going to pause.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
So again, on a personal note, I came here many times with my children who actually learned how to swim in this pool. They didn't quite learn how to dive because that diving board was a little high, but many good divers. I mean, remember, we had Leah Lovelace from, she said Crestwood, but from Yonkers, New York, when she won the Olympic championship. She learned how to dive in this pool, and we're depriving a whole generation of kids of that opportunity. Chairman Jenkins talked about the plan for renovating all the county's facilities. And just 2 nights ago at Lincoln High School, when the county executive had his open meeting, residents came forward and said, you promised us when you changed Tibbetts Brook Park and you took away the lap pool that was at Tibbetts Brook Park that it wouldn't be a problem because you'd be able to swim at Sprain Ridge Pool. I don't see much water in there. And lastly, I'm a big fan of historic preservation, adaptive reuse of old buildings. I'd hate to see this become ruins, like the Roman ruins. I mean, it really looks sad now, looking at the weeds growing through the cracks on what was really a thriving pool. And if you can envision the hundreds of kids that would be playing here, the dozens that would be sliding down that, the tens and dozens of people that would be doing laps in the back, and the little kids over in the corner. And I can remember vividly Ariel and Emily playing, probably with Alana, getting wet for the first time at this pool. This brings back memories, and this really hurts me that the county has neglected us in this effort.
Let's have Councilman Sabatino say a few words as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo my colleagues' comments, and I think most importantly, this particular area where the park is located supports all of the nearby surrounding towns of Hastings and Ardsley and North Yonkers, and this is something that our children need. Especially, you know, we always have people complaining that there's kids on the streets and they're getting into trouble. This venue is a perfect venue for keeping our children off the streets in the summer and to bring families here to enjoy the facility. And I really urge the county executive to move forward on this. As my colleagues have indicated, this had unanimous support on the county board as well as from the city council when we passed a resolution over a year ago. So I would hope that the county executive would reconsider and move this forward. Thank you.
Just for some context again, the Parks Department, as you know, the Parks Recreation and Conservation, PRC as we lovingly call them, works with a board. And the Parks Board had to approve these plans. It wasn't something that was done, again, starting at the legislature. We have a group of citizens that are volunteers that came up with that plan that was presented to the board that we funded through the capital program to move this forward. And all of that input is not subject to the whim of any person, any one person, and it certainly needs to move forward. So Mary Jane, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We all know how important this pool is, how important saving our capital assets are. At this point, we'll take any questions that you might have. Okay, you're good? Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.
Thanks, John. Exactly. We got a beautiful day, too, right?